Yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on the Gov Shack. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And I have had a very busy and snowy couple of days. So, yes, for those of you who know, I am in New York City, and it is snowing all over us. All over this East Coast, it is snowing everywhere, all over the place, which is fine. I don't mind at all. I'm happy to be here. So all good. But in reality, I had to cancel 2 of my events, which really sucked. I do so many events all over the state, and about every other week, I try to rotate upstate and downstate. I try to do upstate like a week, and then a downstate a couple, and then maybe a break, and then maybe upstate again, and then downstate. I try to rotate them out to the best of my ability. I try to. I can't always do that, but I definitely do try. And this time I actually did both together for once, which is not normal for me. I did like 3 upstate, I was going to 2 downstate in one weekend. And of course it snowed downstate. And so I had to cancel, sadly, Westchester and Staten Island. I will make it up to you, Staten Island and Westchester. I know you were all crying because you couldn't see me. That's okay. But we did have some very good events last week. And for those who don't know, I was able to host Bob Lonsberry's radio show, the very gracious Bob Lonsberry, a friend of mine, who's been watching me run since 2018 and has allowed me to guest host his show probably twice a year, give or take, in that area, which is very good because it lets me obviously talk to people across the Syracuse area, which is awesome, a nice big urban area in New York State. And, my Monday show, which I did earlier today, which is out of the Rochester area. So I'm able to get my word out to the average voter out there, out in Western and Central New York, which is important. And then here, all you people can talk to me no matter where you are. Look at how awesome that is. So I will be again, see if I can find that now. I will be up and about again this week. I'm back again. So you're like, Larry, you just got done and now you're doing it again. Because basically I am crazy, which is true. I'm crazy. So let me show you, if I could, where I'm going this week. So if you are back in New York State at all this week, please feel free to check me out in Binghamton this Thursday. At 6 p.m. I will be at the Park Diner in Binghamton this Thursday, the 26th. This Friday, I will be at the Crossways Tavern for lunch, noon on Friday, if you can. And then, of course, the fundraiser. Now, usually when you come to my events, it is free. Just show up. I would like you to purchase something from the local, venue if you can. If you have enough cash, please purchase a meal. If not, a cup of coffee, a soda, something to support local businesses. This one Friday coming up here, this is a fundraiser. So you got to give money. This is a fundraiser. That one is a fundraiser. If you want to come to that one, that is on the rail line. Head over and register there at larrysharpe.com/SYR. Register there to show up. That is a fundraiser at the rail line in Syracuse, New York. We do have to make cash, guys. This is also cash. But if you don't want to see me there, no worries. Pop on over to the Nutcracker Restaurant the next day, Saturday at 2 p.m. I'll be at the Nutcracker Restaurant in Webster, New York. So for those of you who are in the Rochester area, great place to stop by, say hi to me. That's, of course, obviously free. And then the WMC North in, West Water Street in Elmira at 6:30 that night. So 2 events on Saturday. See that. And then finally, I will be in Warwick, Sunday at noon, March 1st, the Warwick Valley Community Center in Warwick, New York. So if you guys can come by, please come see me. I appreciate it. And you're saying to yourself, Larry, I would love to come by and give you all my money on Friday, but I can't make it. No worries. You can give me all your money just regular. LarrySharpe.com/donate. If you want to give money, please do so. All the cash does matter. As you guys know, whenever I do this, I just go into debt. What I love is I will hear people all the time say things like, Larry's scripting for the donation money. Well, for those who don't know, you can just look at my donations. You can see where all the money goes. 0 goes to me. So, yes, if you want to help me out, you can help me out on my Sharpe Way show. That is my business. That's wonderful. If you want to help me out personally, that is a way to do so. But when it comes to donations here, I get 0. I just go into debt. That's what I do. For those you don't know, I was $100,000 in debt after my first run, $40,000 after my second. Hopefully this time I'll only be about $20,000 in debt. I hope. So so the money from LarrySharpe.com/donate goes to the campaign. So please, if you want to support the campaign, please do so at LarrySharpe.com. If you want to volunteer, you need to volunteer if you can. Why? Petitioning is going to start this week. Sadly, we had a massive snow dump upon my entire team, so we may be delayed a day or two, which sucks tremendously. It does. It sucks tremendously. We will try to get things done anyway, even with a day or two delay. That will be an issue. It might be a day or two delay. It's possible. I hope not. If we can get things up and running fast enough, we will not delay, but we may be delayed a day or two because of the snow that got dumped on all of us, like power outages and all kind of stuff. I am hoping that if it happens, we'll have if things go slowly, we have a lawsuit to say, hey, look, give us a couple more days with, act of God type thing. But that could happen. In any case, we will be out there still petitioning. We'll start sometime this week. As I know more, I will let you know. For those of you who have been complaining, and why aren't you doing so-and-so? Why don't you control the snow, wise ass? When you control the snow, then you can tell me how fast I can be. But I cannot. So I will do it to the best of my ability. I'm going to get out there, get those signatures so that we can, in the next 6 weeks or so, get us enough signatures so we can be in the Republican primary. The Republican primary is the key. When that happens, you will watch the press explode because that's not supposed to happen. Mr. Bruce Blakeman is supposed to be the chosen one. And I'm saying he's not. Am I right? We're going to find out the hard way. So we will find out the hard way whether I am correct or not. We will find out either way whether that's true. So in any case, that's how that works. I hope that's interesting for you guys. Let me grab a couple comments, and then I want to talk about Mamdani and something very important. People are actually recognizing that Mamdani's not working. And I'll explain in a second. Let me grab a couple comments and I'll move on. John says, now that Delgado is out, Hochul doesn't need to pretend she's a socialist. She can go back to pretending to give a damn about our dwindling population, ever-growing budget, and skyrocketing debt. True. You fit that perfectly. Now, remember, when she wanted to get rid, now, I'm going to give her some credit, and I usually don't, but I try to give credit where credit is due. Whether it was her or her team, I don't know, but either way, what they did to get rid of Delgado, I mean, well done. For those who don't know, Antonio Delgado was trying to run in a primary against Kathy Hochul. That he was trying to do so. And he thought in his mind, well, I'll be able to move further left than Hochul, who's clearly and obviously a corporate Democrat. So I'll move to the left and I'll get all the Mamdani people to get behind me and they'll love me and give me money and support me. And that's how I'll beat Hochul. Yet that didn't go as planned at all. That did not work. But that was his plan. A failed plan, clearly. But he was trying to do that. She, of course, or again, her team, whichever, she gets credit for either way, moved left. And was like, Mamdani, you're my best friend. We're buddies. John is correct. And they went, oh, okay, well, why hang out with this loser Delgado when we got the governor clearly herself? Why don't we just hang out with her? And they did. And Delgado saw that and he dropped out. And now he'll run for like assembly or whatever, or Congress or whatever. He'll do something, whatever he'll do. He'll go do something else. He's not going to get a job. So he'll go do something like that. Whatever that thing is, he'll go do that. So you were correct. And now Hochul's like, oh, Delgado's gone. Blakeman's a joke. So she's like, oh, I'm going to win now. So she's no longer afraid at all. Kathy Hochul and her team, no longer afraid at all. They know Blakeman's a joke and she will mop the floor with him. And she's now, what are they like? She's like 25 points ahead of him now, whatever he is. She's ungodly amounts ahead of him. So she knows she's going to mop the floor with Blakeman. He had no shot at victory whatsoever. And now Delgado's gone. So she knows, good, I got 4 more years. She's done. At this point, you're right. She can now start pretending that she cares about black kids swimming or something or whatever is her next lie. True. That's accurate. Yes. Adirondack says, Dems govern in New York since 2006. That's enough time to let them look for answers. This is the point I've been bringing up forever. But I'm going to blame Republicans too. And some of you aren't going to like that, but it's still true. You're right, Adirondack. That means for the past 20 years, actually since 2002, right? But this is 6 fine. So for 20 years, Democrats have run this state for 20 years. If they were going to fix it, they would have. You are correct. If there was an answer for them to find, they would have found it. If you can't find the answer in 20 years, you can't find the answer. So we know Democrats can't find that answer. What about Republicans? Well, the Republican leadership, you would think, well, they've had 20 years to watch the Democrats fail, haven't they? They've had 20 years to fight back and fight Democrats, haven't they? They have. So where's their plan? They don't have one. They don't have one. I would ask any of you, what's Bruce Blakeman's plan to fix New York? You don't know because there isn't one. There isn't one. Of course not. There's no plan. He has no idea. He doesn't care. He's not going to try. He's not going to win. He knows he's not going to win. It's not a thing. So why would he waste his time, money, and energy coming up with a plan? We can just yell, Hochul's bad for the next month or two, whatever, how long it takes, and then raise his money and move on. Why does he care? I understand that completely. It makes total sense. I totally get it. So that's what he's doing. So where's the Republican answer? None. There's one guy who's had answers for New York for the past 8 years, and that guy is, me. That will be me, who has had answers and plans for New York State for the past 8 years that have been on my website, by the way, for the past 8 years that anyone could have taken. For those, I use this story and I'm going to keep using it. I'm going to burn this story into the ground because I want you guys to remember this story forever. It is on video. The end of my Joe Rogan segment back in 2018. He said, hey, Larry, you have these great ideas. How'd you get them? I said, me and my team put them together. So we had these ideas to fix things. He went, you better lock these down. I said, why? He said, people take them. I said, take them. Take all my ideas and fix my state, and I'll stop running. I'll go back to work. I'll hang out with my family and friends again. I'll do that. So take them all. I said that 8 years ago. And the number of people, people who took my plans, if I count her, and then do I want to count Republicans? And yeah, okay. And then assemblymen, count them. Yeah, none. Zero. Not one person. Zero. No one's taken one of my plans ever. No one has. They take my rhetoric. Kathy Hochul takes my rhetoric. She likes my rhetoric. Again, sadly, Democrats tend to have better rhetoric. It's true. They tend to have better rhetoric. I mean, it's all garbage, but it sounds great. I mean, free buses does sound good. It does. Freezing the rent sounds amazing. Does sound good. So she'll take my rhetoric, but not my plans. So thank you for that. I do appreciate that. Absolutely. All righty. Adirond goes on to say, did you get in that sweet shoveling? No, I don't have enough IDs. Remember, you have to have more IDs to shovel than to vote. Don't forget that. And since I'm black, I can't get an ID. I don't know how, right? That's why we can't have the SAVE Act, because I'm a black person and black people don't know how to get IDs, right? That's what the SAVE Act says. The people hate the SAVE Act. So I can't get the ID because I'm black, so I can't have that. And I'd go online, but I'm from the Bronx. And it's I'm serious. And Kathy Hochul sort of told me that black kids from the Bronx don't know what a computer is. So the only reason why you see me now is my white friends have come over to assist me so I can do it. Otherwise, I couldn't do it. So, yeah. So I'd get that money, Adirond, but black people can't get IDs. You know that. It's impossible. We don't know. So hopefully Kathy Hochul will teach us one day. I can only hope. Maybe one day she will teach us how to get. I mean, she probably won't, but maybe she will. We'll see. So yes, Bronner says, right off the bat, yes, Dems can find answers for New York. They're all bad answers, but Republicans have no answers. You know what? That is an accurate statement. You're right. That's true. Democrats do have answers. Terrible ones. Ban this, ban that, tax this, tax that. That is an answer. You're right. It's just a terrible one. But as you've heard me say a gazillion times, when people have a choice between a bad answer and no answer, they take a bad answer. And they did. And they did. That is true. So, Bronner, yet again, you are correct. Love it. Absolutely. Yes. Correct. HVAC says Larry can't control the snow because the CIA controls the snow. True. So maybe one day, true story, by the way, guys, I think you may enjoy this. When I was coming out of the Marine Corps, I was recruited by the CIA. The CIA recruited me. They came after me because they were like, this guy's perfect. He's single. He's a Marine. He's trained. I was in intelligence for the last 3 years. I had a degree in anthropology. I was like perfect for them. And this is what they actually told me. They were like, hey, we're gonna take you. And this is their pitch. They thought I looked Egyptian. That's what they told me. That's what the guy told me. The guy told me I looked Egyptian, and that he was gonna teach me Arabic and send me to Egypt, to the Middle East. I'm not joking. This is a true story. This is back a couple years ago when I got out of the Marine Corps. And I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. But hear what I actually thought. I thought, that's not bad. I said, but, I want to be one of the smart guys, right? For those who don't know, there's basically two types of people in the CIA, operatives and analysts. I wanted to be an analyst. I thought, oh, I'm a smart guy. I could be an analyst. They're like, no. You're going to be operative. They wanted me to be the operative. And I'm like, but like, no. Marine, you're going to be an operative. And something about stuff, they're going to have me like knife some guy in an alley somewhere in Cairo, right? That's what I got. I got to knife some dude in Cairo. Is that what I got to do? I was thinking, I got to try to be, I don't know, James Bond or something. That's what I was thinking I had to be. Like, But here's the thing. I remember they offered me $51,000 a year. This was the 90s. I was 23 years old. That was that was like $1 million to me. Like, it's as if they said, we'll give you $1 million a year. I literally thought about it, like $51,000. I had never made more than like $18,000 in my life. I was 23. And I was a Marine my whole life. So I didn't even know anything except Marine Corps. So I was like, damn, $51,000. That's like $1 million. It's like Bill Gates money. Like, I had no idea. Like, there was just so much money. It's like, wow. Oh my God. And so I did think about it. But then one of my buddies told me something. Well, two people told me something. One guy said, Larry, if you join the CIA, you're never not in the CIA. And I was like, oh, okay. Second guy said, he said, they're going to make you an operative. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be, I'm going to be an operative. He said, Larry, you'd be a great spy, but you'll be a better father. And boy, that hit home for me. And I was like, yeah, I think maybe an operative, like I'm never getting out. Like once I go in, and I was just out of Marine Corps. So I'm like, I'm never getting out. So even though I was recruited by the CIA, I did tell them no. Even though $51,000 in the early 90s as a 23-year-old, that was a lot of money. And I still said no. So yes. Anyway, so I hope that was kind of cool story for you guys. That's how that works. So John says, look forward to seeing you again in Syracuse at your fundraiser. Yes, thank you. John was out my other event this weekend. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. That was kind of cool. So, all righty. Let me go if I could. Hold on. Let me go if I could. And I'll pop up. This piece is important. It is a Fareed Zakaria piece. Why do I bring up Fareed Zakaria sometimes? Because Fareed Zakaria is absolutely mainstream. He is mainstream CNN. So he is corporate media. And if corporate media is saying something, that means a lot of people are thinking about it. People who vote, right? That kind of thing. People who vote. They actually care. They care. And he's bringing up something that he probably shouldn't be saying in theory, but he is. Well, hold on. A bunch of guys give me some comments. Let me grab these if I can. All righty. Let's see here. Gracie says, Marines are not known for their brains, and while similar to their reputation, many are extremely intelligent. True. Absolutely true. Yes. Absolutely true. Yes. Adam says, hold on. Adam says, are you telling me you're not James Bond and you don't work for MI6? That's like what a spy would say. I'm sure working for this guy gets good dental. I think that's true. Yes. I think that's true. So, yeah, it's true. I would be lying. You're right. Phil says, Larry Sharpe doesn't have a good spy name. True. But I can call myself, I don't know. Do I have to go Sharpe? Larry Sharpe? Like that? The 11 Marines as operatives. Also true. Yes. Also true. All right. Bronner's mad at me already. Oh, gosh, Freed again. This guy is just emotionless and boring even when he makes a point. Doesn't make him wrong, though. Bronner giving me trouble already. Give me trouble already, Bronner. Okay. Just, I wouldn't punish you unless it was worth the punishment. There's value here.
But first, here's my take. Zohran Mamdani ran on a promise to make New York affordable.
He did.
A mandate for a city we can afford.
See that?
Last week, he unveiled a budget that is, in a word, unaffordable. New York has been fiscally...
Now, I want to be clear about this. Of course, we knew this. It wasn't like we didn't know this. The key part that's important here is because the key that's important is that Fareed said it out loud. That's the key point. If he's, Gracie gets perfect. Oh my God, Gracie, you read my mind. Fareed can say the quiet part out loud because about 70 people at night watch CNN. However, this is, by the way, his show though is not nighttime. There are 2 weekend shows that are valuable on CNN. Saturday is a show that's usually more domestic. That's Michael Smerconish. And Sunday is a show, Fareed's show, which is usually more international. Usually is more international, which Fareed Zakaria. These are mainstream shows that voters watch, Gracie. If only 50,000 people watch the show, I think something like 100,000 or 200,000 watch the show, something like that. Those are people who actually vote. Not just that. Those are people who are paying attention and tell their other friends who vote. So if he's thinking it, other people are thinking it too. And that's the piece. You are right. The fact that, not like we didn't know this, but this is the fact that the mainstream corporate media will say this out loud. That's the piece that matters.
Profligate for so long that the headline number, $127 billion, produces little shock. But for perspective, these are similar to the annual expenditures of a mid-sized nation.
Yes.
With all the expenses a country requires, like Greece or Thailand, devoted to governing one city.
Yep.
New York City's budget has ballooned in recent years.
And that's the thing people don't know. Most people think, well, it's got a lot of money. Oh, no. It's a recent explosion. That's the issue that most people don't know.
Michael Bloomberg's last budget, adopted for fiscal year 2014, totaled about $70 billion.
For 12 years ago, it was $70 billion. 12 years ago. Now it's $127 billion. By next 2 years, it'll be 140. It will double.
So in little more than a decade, the budget has nearly doubled, growing faster than inflation and faster than the city's economic growth. And much of it has happened as the city has been losing the one thing that makes big government easier to finance, people.
Bingo! If I got more people paying taxes, I can finance it better, right? That's how he thinks. That's how he thinks. There are other ways of raising money, but he can't imagine that. It's just I need more bodies to punish them.
New York City's population fell sharply amid the pandemic, with a 5% decline from April 2020 to July 2022. More recent city reports show a rebound, but the city remained below its 2020 baseline as of 2024.
This is what you keep hearing. Everything's getting better. Yes, compared to the lockdowns. When you compare stuff to pre-lockdowns, New York's in trouble. So when they always go, oh, we're up, we're doing better. Yeah, from the lockdowns, from when everything was sucked and no one could work. Yeah, absolutely.
The arithmetic is brutal. A larger bill is divided among fewer payers.
Yep.
Per person, the imbalance is stark. Using the Lincoln Institute's fiscally standardized numbers, New York's general spending in 2023 was more than 30% higher per capita than Los Angeles.
Think about that. 30% higher than Los Angeles. Los Angeles.
And more than double Houston.
Now, this is a critical piece here. Double Houston. Houston is a very large city. I think the fourth largest in the country in that area, fourth or fifth, something like that. So it's pretty up, maybe third. It's in the area. It's around fourth largest in the country. So it's a big city as far as cities go. And this is per capita, right? So based upon population. Not just that. Houston has a lot of people who come from over the border, like a lot of immigrants like we do. A lot of immigrants in Houston, just like a lot of immigrants here. A lot of people who are not in great health in Houston. Like a lot of people. Houston's is the fattest big city in the entire country. It's true. Just is, right? That's why the My Season Bound Life guy is in Houston. That's why he is. I'm not joking. That's why he's there, right? So a lot of people who have issues, just like people have issues here, same stuff, right? All those things. Not just that. They don't have the homeless problem we have. They don't. They don't have the rent problem that we have. They don't. They don't have a rent is too damn high guy in Houston. They don't. Yeah. Yet they spend less money. Huh.
And what do New Yorkers get for this?
Good point.
Look at New York City schools.
How about that?
The largest school district in the country.
Yep.
The city's education budget has climbed while enrollment has shrunk.
There's now less than 1 million students. And the worst part is a bunch of those students are students who just left during the lockdowns, never came back.
The DOE budget has risen from roughly $34 billion in 2019 to over $40 billion.
So it's growing from 36 to 42 billion while the school number of kids is going down. And, well, it's fine, Larry, because each of these, without question, is because we're having great results. Like New York is like #1 in the country, right?
The DOE says per student spending is projected to reach nearly $35,000 in
It's actually
fiscal
40
year
already.
2026, among the highest in the nation.
Okay, that's a lie. It is the highest in the world. Be very clear about that. Well, there's one exception. The exception is Luxembourg. Luxembourg is not really a country. It's kind of like a bank with a name on it, with a town around it. It's not really a country. I mean, I'm sorry, Luxembourg. You're not really a country. You're just not. Anyway, so if you don't count Luxembourg, we are the highest in the world, not among the highest in the nation. We are the highest in the nation. In fact, the highest in the world.
The outputs, graduation numbers, test scores, and
well, these must be amazing. We must have amazing outputs, right? Tell me, Freed, what are our amazing outputs in New York?
reading levels are at best middling, often comparable to places that spend a fraction of what New York does.
Now yes. Remember how everybody got mad at Wisconsin when that governor came in and broke the unions up and hammered the unions? Wisconsin ranks in the top 10. I'm not making this up. Do your own homework. Broke the unions. Top 10. It's not about unions. It's not about it. It's not.
The taxes, because every political argument in New York eventually ends up at the same curbside. Who will pay?
Yep.
New York already sits at the extreme end of the American tax spectrum.
What?
For high earners, the combined state plus city income tax reaches 14.776%.
So just from, this is not federal. This is just city and state, 15% taxes. So if you leave New York State and you're a high earner, you will off the bat save 15% of your taxes. If you go to some other place with no taxes, you go to Texas, you go to Florida, New Hampshire, Wyoming. So if you're a high earner and you make $1 million a year, you're going to save $150,000 per year just by moving. Why do you think people keep moving?
Add federal taxes and the combined marginal rate can exceed 50%.
Many of the people I know who are wealthy, my former clients, my current clients, that kind of thing, they pay over 50% in taxes. Yes.
Reaching roughly 55% on certain investment income. New Yorkers pay tax rates comparable to European countries.
Now, here's the point that's important. Clearly, I'm a libertarian and I don't like taxation at all. Obviously. Clearly, I don't like it at all. However, to be very forward with you, most Americans are actually okay with taxation. It's just true. I can't stand it, but it's true. You see it all the time. Most Americans would be okay with taxation if they were getting what they wanted. What are they getting? Wars no one's happy about, immigration that they don't want, all kind of problems. War and drugs they don't want. They're getting bombing, people they don't want. They're not getting what they want. The Europeans, why do you think Europeans were so happy to have us in NATO? Well, because we can defend them. We can hold the nuclear bombs. We can go out there and patrol the seas so that everyone can get their stuff around, and they can take all the taxation and give their people cool stuff. Here's free healthcare. Here's free this. Here's free that. Yeah, why not? The United States is paying for everything else. As I've said before, socialism is wonderful when you got someone else's money, and that money's been our money. So yeah, I love it.
That provide in return universal health care, free college education,
Isn't that wrong?
and amazing infrastructure. New Yorkers get some 300 miles of sidewalk sheds.
This is true, and no one stopped this. Shame on Kathy Hochul for not stopping this. Shame on Eric Adams. Executive order ends this. Ends it. It's stupid. Executive order ends this. This is a blight on our city. It needs to go away immediately. Just end this stupidity. There was like one person who died 5 years ago or something like that, like a brick fell or something, and they made, no, all goes away. You can change this by changing one thing in New York State. Stop us from being a no-fault state when it comes to insurance. That's it. Did you make a mistake? Yes. Then you pay. Did you not make a mistake? Yeah. Then you don't pay. Done. Most states are that way. New York is no. Everyone could pay no matter what. Hammer them. Well, why do our insurance rates are so damn high? Because that. So literally, if I'm drunk and I smash into your car and you did nothing wrong, you got to pay. Why? Because New York State. But I was a drunk guy and I slammed into you. Correct. So shouldn't I pay? Yes. So then why is it going to pay? Because New York. So there we go. Change that and the rest of this goes away.
On business taxation, the city is also off the charts.
What?
The Citizens Budget Commission reports that New York City business activity faces the country's highest combined corporate tax.
We are the least business-friendly state in the nation. Highest taxation, least business-friendly. I wonder why to get anybody to come here, we have to bribe them. I wonder why. Because this is the reason why. And again, I know this, but this is mainstream CNN saying this. This means we have a shot at getting people to understand this.
Right. 17.44%. Once state, city, and regional layers are stacked.
Yep.
Mamdani wants to hike income and corporate rates even
Correct.
further, or else he says he will raise property taxes by almost 10%.
So he said, we're going to raise this more. It's already unlivable for the person who has any kind of money. Right? And they make a, well, we're going to punish the billionaires and the whatever. Okay, I got it. I hear you. That does sound great. And again, it's great rhetoric. It does sound great. But what's going to happen when you punish them even more? What are they going to do? They're going to leave. Yeah, they don't leave. That is Democratic propaganda. Don't believe that horseshit. They will tell you all the time. They don't leave, they stay. If that's true, why did he just show you the numbers of them going down? Why does literally the IRS say New York State loses $20 billion every year due to migration? Why is that? What reason is that? Because they don't leave? Yeah, they leave. They actually do leave. That's actually a thing. They leave. And when they leave, what happens? What he just said. Now I got to have the same thing with less people, which means people got to pay more. Yeah, not good. Not good at all. So, yeah, just so you're clear on that piece.
Property taxes already made up more than 27% of the cost of home ownership in the city as of 2022, above the national average. New York is really a prime example of a problem Democrats seem unwilling to confront.
What is that?
Blue cities are out of control.
What?
Promising more, spending more, delivering less, and pushing off the fiscal problems to some future day.
Wait a minute. Did Fareed Zakaria of mainstream CNN just say blue cities are failing? Yeah, we all knew that. All of us knew that. But he just said it. That's why this matters. Usually I'm screaming at Democrats saying this, and they always tell me the opposite. That's not true. That's not true. It's because this. It's because that. Remember when that book came out last year? There were Democrats who figured this out and tried to say the quiet part out loud. And the book was called, was Abundance. That was the name of the book. This was Democrats who said, look, we are failing in our cities. They said, literally, if we're going to get people to want to come to the Democratic Party, then we have to show people that Democratic leadership is effective, that it works. See, it should be the paragon. People should want to come to all of our cities. And what should have happened in theory is Democrats went, oh, that makes sense. Why don't we make better policies and have better cities? No, they went, you just love Trump. That's what they did. They attacked those guys as capitalists and Trumpsters. I'm not joking. That was the response. That's why he has to say it again. Now, don't get me wrong. What's probably going to happen next week is they're going to attack him as, oh, you're a capitalist, you're evil. They're going to attack him as that now because the Democratic Party cannot get out of its own way. It just can't. People are mad at Trump when it comes to his coalition. That's true. Independents are leaving the Republican Party. That's true. But they're not becoming Democrats. And Democrats like, I don't know why. 'Cause this. So now what can Republicans do? Get smart and put your coalition back together. There's a guy who's trying to do that in New York. His name is, Larry Sharpe. That's the guy trying to put the coalition back together because it's fallen apart. Let's put it back together before one of the Democrats get their head out of the derriere and actually come up with some kind of idea which may bring those guys back to them. I would like it to not happen. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because they're figuring it out. Wait a minute. They're actually figuring out, wow, Everything we're saying actually sucks. Yes. And you might go, who's freed? He's mainstream corporate media saying it. When the abundance guys came out, they were freaks and weirdos and attacked them. This is mainstream. This is CNN.
Take Los Angeles, another one-party metropolis wrestling with affordability and disorder. The city's homelessness budget for fiscal year 2025-26 totals about $950 million.
$950 million for the homeless budget. Okay.
The LA Homelessness Services Authority reported that in 2023, homelessness was up 9% countywide and 10% in the city.
Damn.
And a 2024 AP account noted that homelessness has surged 70% countywide since 2015.
So they put more money in and homelessness went up. Because that works?
And 80% in the city.
Damn,
all this
okay.
amid public frustration despite billions spent.
Yep.
An audit reviewed $2.4 billion in city homelessness funding and found that officials could not reliably track where it went or what it.
They don't know where it is. They don't know. This is the homeless industrial complex. We have it in New York City too. And it went from a homeless industrial complex to a migrant industrial complex. So I'm asking you, if they checked out $2.4 billion and they don't know where it went and the homeless people keep coming, why would you fix the homeless problem? Why would you? There's no incentive. If I'm grifting off of this and I'm getting X hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars to my group and I'm paying my friends and I'm paying everybody and everyone's getting paid and we don't got to have any results, because again, government results are relevant. What matters is, did you follow the process? That's all that matters. Process matters, virtue signaling matters. Results are irrelevant. You might say, Larry, that's not true. It's obviously true in everything you've seen. Results do not matter. They are irrelevant. So I don't have to have results. All I have to do is just make sure that I follow whatever dumb rules and I keep getting paid. Why would I solve homelessness? If I solve homelessness, I don't get paid anymore. I'm stupid to solve homelessness.
It achieved. Or take Chicago with a mayor whose approval rating is deep underwater, where the pension promises are so large that they will surely bankrupt the city at some.
Yes, the pensions are so large that they'll bankrupt the city. So would you change the pensions? No. Why? Those people vote for him. Why would you do that? No incentives. Yes.
Point. What is the theory of good government here?
Okay.
If the answer is keep adding programs, the city.
Yes, that is the theory. Here's the problem. There's no such thing as good governance. That's not a thing. There is the bare minimum to survive, to make sure that there is some form of cops and courts. That would be the government that I'd be okay with, right? The bare minimum to make sure there's some types of cops and courts. Okay, fine. Let's do that. Let's have some type of cops and courts, and then we're good. But and if it's at a local level, at a federal level, some kind of military. So we got some kind of military, and at the national level, at the local level, some kind of cops and courts. Okay, let's go there. Can we? Okay, I'm not. Wait, I'm close to that. Can we go somewhere near there? How about that? I would just take that. Like, can we turn the ship around? The idea of good governance, I don't even know what that is. Like, that's a thing he just made up. Because what he just said is, oh, good governance, is it more programs? Like, yes. Literally, that's what people think. More, you see all the time, this guy's a terrible congressman. Why? He didn't support any laws. That doesn't make him bad. Probably makes him good.
Will keep producing unaffordability.
Yes.
Because unaffordability is what happens when government becomes a machine that grows faster than the society it governs.
Look at that. He just became libertarian. Okay, Fareed. Here's the worst part. Fareed does this all the time. Because he's not dumb. He's actually very smart. The problem is he's brainwashed. But he's very smart. His ideology blinds him. But he's very smart. So Fareed will say, here's some libertarian stuff that makes sense. Great. How do we fix it? You know, better taxes. Yeah. This is very good. Tara Wombat. Good governance equals unicorns and magic beans. True. Yes, they're the same thing. That's true. And when I get my unicorns and magic beans, then I'll make good government. And I'll make it of unicorns. When that time comes, I'm with you. Yes.
Zohran Mamdani's basic instinct is correct. Focus on affordability, especially housing.
And I've said that. He's right. The concept should be affordability and people lives better. True. That is the right focus. But as always, the answers are garbage. If you've noticed what I've talked about, everything I've talked about is to make people's lives better, to make people happier. And not one law you've ever seen me apply or put together has ever added one extra enforcement, one extra cop, one extra fine, one extra fee. None. Zero. 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 You can create policies and laws and rules without having to add any extra enforcement, fines, fees, or taxation, or cops. Not required. Not required.
But not by providing government subsidies. These only seem to have driven up the cost of rent as
They've only seemed to driven up the what rate. Who would have thought of that? Who would have thought of that? Wow. Fareed figured it out. It took him 60 years, but he figured it out. He's libertarian today. Welcome aboard.
Subsidies naturally do. The city's rental assistance spending rose from 260.
Watch this one. We got to support rents, right? Because freeze the rent, right? So 6 years ago, $263 million. This is New York City just giving people money for rent. I'm not joking. That's what rental assistance spending means. Giving people money for rent is what it means, right? So 2020, 6 years ago.
In fiscal year 2020, okay. 1.34 billion in the
1.34 billion times 5. Times 5. Times 5 in 5 years. It doubled every year. And what will people on the left say? We just got to fund it. We got to fund it. You got to freeze the rent. This is what happens when you freeze the rent. You just spend more money. Who's going to pay for that? You might say, well, Larry, I'll tell you who's going to pay for that. Federal government. Federal government. That's the answer. Yes.
Most recently reported fiscal year, that is a 5 times increase in a handful of years, and housing costs only got worse. Matt Iglesias.
And it got worse.
Persuasively argues that the city should make it easy and routine to just build abundant market rate housing.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Hold on now. Are you telling me we should make it easier to build? What? Who would have thought of that? Oh, wait, Texas, who has literally no zoning. I'm not joking. It is illegal to zone at the state level, no zoning. Somehow, no zoning in Texas means a large city like Houston, with similar demographics than us, big city, well, somehow doesn't have the rent problem or the homeless problem. Isn't that weird? It's weird, huh? Who would have thought that, except for Texas?
That will bring in more people, expand the tax base, fill the schools, and increase local GDP. And that will make the budget affordable.
What? Okay, so he didn't say lower spending.
For Democrats in city halls, there is a choice. Stop governing as if the goal is to announce new entitlements and instead make government work.
See, if you just would make government work, Bronner, that's your problem. See, he was doing so well. This is the normal Fareed. Like, he gives you real info and you go, oh, that's good info. Hey, see, libertarian stuff is true. Okay, Grace, how do you fix it? Yeah, better government. Okay, that's not libertarian. He's not libertarian.
Safer streets, functioning schools,
see
predictable sanitation.
Just make things better. How? That's what Democrats always say. If we just had better government. Okay, they're not wrong. If we had better government, true, if we had better government, things would be better. That's not an inaccurate statement. If we had better government, things would be better. True. Great. How do we do that? You can't do that. There's no, you might as well tell Wombat said, if we had unicorns, then we wouldn't have to worry about horses. True. You're right. If we had unicorns, if we had magic beans, we wouldn't have to worry about feeding people. True. Do we have magic beans? No. Do we have good government? No. So, yes, if we had good government, we'd have a better life. That's true. If we had magic beans, we wouldn't have to worry about food. When I get my magic beans is exactly when we're going to have good government. Same time. That's going to happen hand in hand. When I get my magic beans, we're going to have good government. That's going to happen together. So just keep waiting. Bronna, keep waiting. The beans are coming. Why don't you trust people?
And above all, enough housing that the middle class can find places to live.
Hold on. I'm trying to remember. Hold on. There was a guy who decided to end all rent freezes and rent caps, all rent stabilization, all rents. Who was that? Oh, right, Malay in Argentina. And what happened? Oh, yeah. Homelessness went down and rents went down 30%. Yeah, already happened. Already doing it.
New York City does not need more soaring rhetoric.
Yes.
It needs more homes.
He's not wrong. However, here's the problem. Soaring rhetoric sadly works. I wish it didn't, but it does. I'm glad you guys know that. Thank you for enjoying my Fareed Zakaria this year. I know you guys sometimes can't stand it, but yes. So, all right, let me grab a couple of comments if I can. Let me figure this one out. Space Over on Rumble says, the greatest narrative ever created by the Dems is the rich need to pay their fair share, which brainwashed every S-lib into believing this is why utopia they're owed hasn't been fulfilled. He's right. Every single time something goes wrong and you don't get the cool things that you want, whatever that utopia is, whatever they're promising you, it's always because the millionaires and billionaires. It's always because of that. That's always the reason. Yet who are the people who build the things that make your life happy? It's the millionaires and billionaires. They're the ones who give you the cool things that you want, that make your life happier. So why would we punish them? Because they're easy to punish. Because it makes it so that it's not my fault. So yes, Sarah says it, the new UBI, unicorn-based income. That UBI I'm for. I agree. I'm for that UBI. When we get unicorns, let's do UBI. I'm in, Sarah. That's the issue. That's that UBI. I think Bronna said Bronna's for that too. Bronna and I both agree on that. If we could do unicorns, we're both on UBI. Unicorn-based income. Done and done. I love it. That's amazing. We're in. Look, see, Sarah's so good. She united me and Bronna together under one thing. There we go. Phil says the state unicorn gap. Well, there will be an issue. We would have a unicorn gap. That's true. We make sure everyone gets their fair share of unicorns, right? So remember back in the day, Vermin Supreme said free ponies for everybody. And it's the best part. This is a true story if you guys don't know. Vermin Supreme's guy used to put a boot in his head. And he would say that part of his platform was everybody would get a free pony. That was, you vote for him for president, everyone gets a free pony. And he's out there at one point, and Ted Cruz, yes, the Ted Cruz in Texas, asked him, who's going to pay for the free ponies? And with a straight face, Vermin looks at him and goes, they're free. He goes, no, who's going to pay for them? He goes, they're free. They're free. He just literally, he stunned Ted Cruz into not knowing what to say. They're free. He just announced it. They're free. So I'm going to announce it as he would. When we get unicorns, they're free. Who's going to pay for it? They're free. Because I've deemed it so. So there we go. So I will fix the state unicorn gap because unicorns, when I have them with my magic beans, will be free. Why? Because I said so. Done and done. Easy day. All righty. Let me keep grabbing some of this if I can. All righty. All right, here. I will grab as many as we possibly can. Chris says, battle access, bada boom. I am working on it, my friend. I've got to work on it. It's one of the hardest things to do. So yes. Adirondack goes on to say, the left hates gig work. Uber and such made into employees. Aren't the New York City shovel teams employees for the same reasoning? What happens if they're injured shoveling snow? Yes, you're right. He doesn't care. It's government money. He'll just throw you more money. You're correct. You're not wrong. And again, when government does it, that makes it okay. In case you didn't know that. That makes it okay. Guys, I'm asking you, of course, to donate as I always have. If you like what I'm saying and you want me to move forward, please donate. LarrySharpe.com/donate. But if you say, Larry, I've already donated, no worries. You can still help me out by clicking the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. If you would click the like button, it will help. If you have not already shared or reposted this, please do so. I'd appreciate that tremendously. If you have not already subscribed to this or any channel you're watching, please subscribe or follow, whatever the case may be. Please do any of those. I would appreciate it tremendously if you can. And of course, I ask you all the time, please come see me in New York if you will be around. I'll grab some more comments, but I just want to make sure that I got my schedule up here for those of you who haven't seen it yet. If you want to come see me this Thursday, February 26th, I will be at the Park Diner at 6 p.m. in Binghamton. This Friday, I will be at the Crossways Tavern at noon for lunch in Ilion, New York. I will then have a fundraiser. All the other things are free. This one is not. If you want to come to this one, this is a fundraiser. Syracuse, 6 p.m. Friday. Sign up at LarrySharpe.com/Syracuse. If you say, Larry, I love you, but I can't afford to pay to get into your event, no worries. Come Saturday, if you want to, February or Saturday, 2 p.m., the Nutcracker Restaurant in Webster, or 6:30 p.m., WMC North in Elmira, New York. And then finally, Sunday at noon, Warwick Valley Community Center in Warwick, New York. Go to my website, LarrySharpe.com, or my Facebook page. You see all details there. Please stop by, say hi. Love to see you there. So thank you for that, guys. All right, let me keep going down with these comments if I can. All righty. Gracie says, but if your plans worked, what would the two-party system run on and get rich on and get book deals on? True. That is the grift. That is the grift. HVAC says, Larry, the Republican plan is to outlaw abortion, outlaw trans surgery for minors, and maybe discuss school choice in the periphery and balance the budget on periphery. I wish that was even that's not even their plan. The Republican plan is to ban abortion. Not true. Blakeman is pro-choice and doesn't talk about abortion. Don't bring it up. So that's not true. Trans surgery, don't bring it up anymore. That's not done. That's not a thing anymore. Not at all. So that's not true. And school choice, he doesn't bring it up. So no, not true. Balance in the budget, he didn't say that. So no, none of that's true. If he had that, that would be a plan. He doesn't have that. Neither does Eldon. None of them do. They don't have a plan. Where's his plan for all these things? There's no plan. That's not true. Grace says, but if you're okay, did I cover already? Righty. Anthony says, Larry, Laura Loomer recently slammed Blakeman and the GOP for posting about Ramadan on the first day of Lent. Will you go on her show and seek her endorsement? I will not. Look, always I give you guys, full disclosure always. I'm actually friends with Laura. I am, it's true. She's been on my show before. It's true. So, but I will not be asking for her endorsement. I would not do that to her or myself. I will allow her to do as she sees fit. But yes. So, yeah. Anyway. So just so you know, I'm full disclosure. That's all. There we go. All righty. Let's see. HVAC says, Larry, you're from New York City. You can get an idea. Blacks in Alabama. Republicans shut down the DMV offices in Alabama. Okay. Yes, but no. What I mean by that is, are you telling me that the average black person in Alabama doesn't have a driver's license? Of course you do. The average black person in Alabama can't get a state license? Of course they can. Of course they can. Now, there is, and I've told this before, there is, without question, an issue with a certain percentage and segment of the population. Most of them are much older. That's true. And most of them are now in some situation where it's challenging for them to leave the home, whether they are in a home or whether they're very ill. That's true. There is a segment of people who their license has expired years ago and they can no longer leave the house because they're either ill or they have a problem. That is true. But there's only, the last time I did it, I saw that was about 2.5 million people who fit that. So it's not many relative to the voter base. The voter base is over 200 million eligible. So it's 1% of our population that could be in that world. And that's a real issue to deal with. I agree. So if we're going to go ID, let's make sure that we have a plan to handle that small sliver, that small segment. That segment exists. Let's help them. That's true. But to think that blacks in Alabama as a whole have a problem getting IDs, that's not a thing. That's a story being told. That's not real. The Republicans shut down DMVs? Maybe. I don't know if that's true or not. But even if they did, so now they can't get driver's license anymore? That's not true. Right? It's not a thing. Did they limit the amount of time that it's open? Maybe, but no. It's a sliver of the people. It's a sliver. Maybe 1% of the voting population, and it's a very specific group of people. And yes, because that's true, we should work to fix that group. Otherwise, it's not a thing. So, all righty. Let's see here. Okay. Gracie says, Trump has answers. He may burn your state down, but he has answers and plans and carries them out. Yes. It's funny. One of the reasons why Trump won is because Trump does have answers. At the federal level, the Republican Party does have answers. They're doing it. Tariffs and the whole deal. They have answers, which is one of the reasons why people said, yes, it's true. I'm talking New York GOP, Gracie. You are correct. Though. At the state level, they do. Absolutely. Yes. So, all righty. Adam says, don't forget to mention you'll be in Rochester. I won't be in Rochester on 28th. I'll be in Webster, which is close. But yes, which is close. All righty. Let's see here. D says, Adam, it's never tacky to wear Larry Sharpe paraphernalia. I wear Larry Sharpe paraphernalia. Yes. 100%. Yes. So please wear it. That would work. Yes. Andrew says, well, you heard it first. Larry CIA. True. Busted. Damn it. See, now, Andrew, I got to have you killed. Sucks. I didn't want to do that. I'm sorry. I got to have you have an accident. Sorry. Not that. An accident. Mike says, Ken Roser and Chris Kendall, I know Ken, were on the radio, were on talk radio in Utica last week. Yeah, probably talk out of town, I would assume. I submitted a question to the host to ask their thoughts of you running the Republican primary. They didn't ask them my question. Well, they probably couldn't. And look, no shade to Ken. I know him personally. But the reality of it is how it works in New York State, Mike, for those of you who don't know, how it works is when I begin to run, the Republican leadership literally, not figuratively, literally tells all the Republicans, don't talk to Larry Sharpe. You're not allowed to. They tell them that. I have people who are afraid to be seen with me. Yes, because they punish them. They're not going to give them money, not going to support them, all that stuff. Yes. So, of course, they can't say things because they'll get punished. The leadership will punish them. See, the Republican leadership in New York State, not the Republican voters, the Republican leadership, they have accepted defeat. They don't want to win. That's not a thing for them. They just want to make sure they keep their jobs, their money, and that's all they care about. And as long as Kathy Hochul, they pretend to yell at her or something, that's all they need to do. I want to actually build a coalition and win. They can't have that because they're worried they can't grip as much with me. And to be forward, it's true. I mean, will I have to grip some? I guess probably. I mean, it's still human. There'll be some grifting. I can't stop it all. But there won't be anywhere near as much. And they know that. And like, well, see, if you're a Republican in New York State, for years you believed that your leadership cared about you, that they actually wanted to make sure things got done and helped. You believed that. Many of them now are like, oh, no, that's not true anymore. Yeah, they figured it out because they don't. The top of the Republican Party does not care. That's Ed Cox. Ed Cox doesn't care. I don't care. Ed Cox, he doesn't care. Doesn't care at all. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. Nick Langworthy, when he was chair, didn't care at all. These did not care at all. This was all about the grift. Nick Langworthy used his ability as Republican chair to get a congressional seat. He's a congressman now. That's what he did. He didn't care about you or anybody else. Now, the sad part is now Republicans in the state going, now what do I do? Sadly, most of them pack up and leave. That's the thing I'm trying to avoid. I don't want them to pack up and leave because they recognize they have no hope. Or worse, they don't vote, Mike. There are some parts of upstate New York where only 1 in 6 Republicans vote. They're like, why bother? Nothing's going to change. They're waiting for one of 3 things. They're waiting for an elderly parent to pass away. They're waiting for a kid to graduate high school or college, or they're waiting to retire. And when one of those 3 things happen, they're going to pack up and leave. They don't care. Let Kathy Hochul keep the state. Their mindset is, let them, you can have it. Keep it. I don't want it anymore. I'm out. So, yes, of course they wouldn't ask. Why would they? You know how much trouble they get into? Can't talk to Larry Sharpe. Larry Sharpe wants to fix things. Well, Larry, they want to fix things. Don't fool yourself. If they wanted to fix things, they would have taken my policies back in 2018. If they wanted to fix things, they'd have made a deal with me in 2022, which I came to them in 2022 and said, let's make a deal so we can win this thing. And their answer was, I'll sue you off the ballot. The Republicans and conservatives sued me off the ballot in 2022. Instead of saying, oh, Larry, you're right, let's win this thing, they said, you're in the way, sue me off the ballot. So, yeah, just so you're clear on that one. They don't care. So, of course they wouldn't. Why would they? Why would they? All right. Grab a couple more of these if I can. All right. A lot of these. Sorry, my Adam says Middle Eastern women. He's actually Indian. Just to be clear, he's actually Indian. So yes, he came from India, like back in the 70s, I think, or 80s. He came from India. So he's actually Indian. Born someplace in India. Was it Mumbai? I forgot where. But yes. All righty. Gracie says, I go to the dog park and the shelters, and over the barking, I hear more and more New York accents. Yes, Houston is the 4th largest in the country, and man, it's spread out, and they eat a lot. True. Yes. Borna says, I've never been there, but I've heard Houston's quite a beautiful city. I have been there before, and it was nice. I liked it, but it was years ago, probably 2 decades ago, so I'm sure it's very different now. But when I was there, I liked it. That's where I had real Tex-Mex, was in Houston. I didn't know what Tex-Mex actually was as the New Yorker that I was until I went to Houston, and then my buddy showed me Tex. And also, by the way, I learned how to eat peppers. Right, a pepper eating contest. I thought I was going to win a pepper eating contest. Oh, I was wrong. I did not. I was wrong, but I thought I would because I thought I was smart. I thought what you do is you eat your pepper and you got to chase it with milk, and that's how it works. That's not how it works. I was wrong. For those of you who've done pepper eating contests, that's not how it works. There's other things you do, which I'm not telling you because you need to learn yourself. But yes, there's different ways. I did better next time once I learned the skills. So yes. Okay. Let me walk down this road if I could. All right. Yes. Is Jimmy McMillan rents to damn high guy still around? I actually don't know. I haven't seen Jimmy in years. Last time I saw Jimmy was probably 2021. So I haven't seen him in a long time. I don't know if he's still around. So Phil says Jimmy McMillan is still around. I'm friends with him on Facebook. There we go. He is. Okay, there we go. I haven't seen him personally. I've met him many times. But the last time I saw him was years ago. I think 2021, 2022. Last time I saw him. So, yes. All righty. Gracie says, imagine what Sean Hannity said when he moved to Florida. Yeah. Rush Limbaugh moved to Florida. They all do their shows out of Florida. Yeah. It's terrible. Because they save so much money. I mean, these guys make $8-10 million a year. Easy. If you're making $10 million a year and you move from New York State to any other state with no income tax, you're saving $1.5 million on taxes. Why would you stay? Why would you stay? So, yes. Brona says, in Virginia, we got 9 new taxes with our new governor, 9 new taxes. And today I heard through gerrymandering, I guess, I'm soon to lose 4 Republican congressional seats. Yes, that's true. I thought I'd live here forever. Maybe not. Yes. I'm on record saying this. When Trump wanted to gerrymander, was it Texas? Was it? I think that's what it was. Texas. I said, this is a terrible idea. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. The Democrats were trying to gerrymander for a long time. They've been trying like there's no tomorrow to do this. And the court stopped them. If Republicans push this through and the courts let them, Democrats were like, thank you. They will jump on board. And that's exactly what happened. Democrats could not wait. They're like, go ahead. What you do, Texas? Good. They kept their mouth shut. Go. And they did. Boom. California, New York, Virginia. Boom. Democrats going to win this battle. This was a dumb battle to initiate. It was not the right answer. They don't listen to me, though. Brawner, they should listen to me. They don't listen. So, all righty. Let me grab a couple more people over here on Instagram. Gibson says, what do you think of Governor candidate Butch Ware for California? I actually like Butch. I met him once. Was it Freedom Fest? And just briefly, if I want to remember me, like I just said hi type thing. He was, for those who don't know, he was Jill Stein's VP in 2024. Nice guy, great speaker, but he's a hardcore leftist. So him and I are not going to get along on policy at all. He's more of a Mamdani type, but great speaker. The guy can move a crowd. Again, like an Obama type, like a Mamdani type, very good speaker, moves a crowd, like a Cornel West type, very good at the way he speaks. People love listening to him, but his policies they're just hardcore leftist policies. So I don't see him winning California at all because California doesn't want hardcore left. California wants corporate left. California loves corporate left, right? So like the Newsoms of the world, they're like corporate left. That's what they love. So California much more is not going to like him to go that. He's too far left for that. Is he a good speaker? Yes. Does he have some future in the far left movement? I think yes. He's brave. He's bold, just like Mamdani. He's not afraid to be a socialist. He's openly a socialist, and he's a good speaker. I think he has a future. I think not as governor of California. I can't see it. I don't think California wants corporate. Maybe he could be like, I don't know, a mayor of a town like Mamdani. He could do that maybe. So people call me Fred, said, Larry, you're the man. Thank you, my friend. I'm trying my best to be that. So I appreciate that. All righty. Let's see here. Gracie, you get it. We pay for Europe and Israel's free healthcare. Yes. Yes. Again, socialism, when you got someone else's money, it's great. Oh, Gracie's paying? Free healthcare for everybody. Gracie paying? We all get free rent. Freeze the rent. Why? Bronner's paying. Bronner, get checkbook out. You paying for the rent. Done. Socialism's great then. What's the old saying? Socialism is great until you run out of other people's money. Not so good then. Not so good then. So, yeah, Europe's running out of our money now. It's not good. That's not good. They want us to keep paying so they can keep getting all the goodies. 100%. So, all righty. Sarah says, Larry saying no to the CIA kept him out of the e-files. Maybe. Yeah. Who knows? You think about it, Sarah. If I'd actually gone into the CIA, what I would have done, who I could have become? Who knows? Who knows what could have happened? So I'm glad. Yes, I'm glad. Anthony says, if I saw that Freed Zakara video with no context by CNN, I would have thought he was a hardcore Republican until the end. But yes, until the end. Yes. D Nice Gamer says the Ezra Klein book. Yes, it's called Abundance. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. They hammered him for that. Remember that? They hammered him for that. You got to be the Mamdani guy now. They hammered him for that. So, yeah. But he was right. So, absolutely. All righty here. Chris says, when you get ballot access, you see if Fareed will interview you. He generally doesn't do anything local. It's an exception when he does local stuff. Maybe Michael Smerconish would interview me. He tends to be more international. So, yes. Tara Wombat says, homelessness went up because incentives matter and there are no consequences of failure. True. And the water wars come out when you call them out. Yes, true. Little Frog says, I swear with what 99% of the New York GOP is doing, the chances of me joining the Libertarian Party are high. New York GOP is garbage, full stop. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It has to be repaired. And the problem isn't the average Republican. The average Republican in New York is screaming for something. That's why if you guys watch, I think I told you this before, the coronation of Bruce Blakeman should have been an embarrassment to all Republicans. And those people who were there and watched it, what is wrong with you? If you were there and you were okay with it, what's wrong with you? And some of you are probably watching. What's wrong with you? For those who don't know, the Republicans had a convention. It was a coronation. And to decide who was going to be their nominee, in theory. And this was New York State. They went down to Nassau County. They made it in Bruce Blakeman's backyard. He paid for half of it. I'm not joking. And they make sure Western New York and Northern New Yorkers couldn't show, right? That was the whole goal. They show up there. The opening prayer, again, you can watch it. It was recorded. The opening prayer is not for the farmers who've lost their farm, for the people who've struggled, for the people who've gone bankrupt, for the businesses that were lost. No. It was for Bruce Blakeman. He hadn't been nominated yet. Nomination went until the next day. The opening prayer is for him. It's not till the next day. He was not nominated yet. Yeah. Then as those of you who've been to conventions, what's supposed to happen is people from the floor can say, I want to be recognized, to say something, do something, motion, whatever. None of that was true. Ed Cox read from a sheet of paper. It was completely choreographed. And so he'd read, I'm going to recognize Jane Doe from Chautauqua County. And she's going to say something. And she gets up and goes, I love Bruce Blakeman because he's the best guy in the world. And I love him. And he's awesome. And he saved my cat. Okay, great. Thank you for that. And now I'm going to recognize Johnny Smith from Oneida. Oh, yeah. I want to say Bruce Blakeman's the best guy in the world. He's going to save us. He's awesome. That was the entire thing. I wish I was joking. I'm not. That was the entire thing. They should have been embarrassed, but they weren't. They got in line like little soldiers. That's your leadership. If you're a Republican in this state, your leadership is full of cowards. That's what I will tell you to your face. Full of cowards who cowered and did not stand up. I'm sorry. There was one guy who did. This is true story, and I will say this publicly, and they can, if I'm wrong, they can sue me because I watched it myself. At one point during the convention, you have to ask, this is how it works, and those who've been to conventions know this. You have to say, I want to open the floor for nominations for whatever. In this case, it was for governor. Open the floor for nominations for governor, and he reads this. He doesn't look to the floor. He reads it. I'm going to recognize so-and-so guy from so-and-so county. And this guy gets up and goes, I'm going to nominate the greatest guy in the world. Oh, my God. I'm crying. Bruce Blakeman, the savior. Nominate Bruce Blakeman. Yay. And then you have to say, okay, are there any other nominations? And he read that. And there was a guy who literally said, I have one. And when he said that, and I'm saying this publicly. So if you think I'm making this up, you can insult me, tell me I'm lying, sue me, whatever, because this happened and people were watching. Guy said, I have a nomination. And a guy in a black suit grabbed him and physically removed him through the back. I am not joking. Literally, a guy in a black suit physically grabbed the guy who said that and pushed him out the back door so that no one could even have another nomination. That's what happened in the Republican convention in Nassau County this year. I just said that publicly. So if someone says I'm wrong, go ahead. Sue me. Do it. I fucking dare you. Because it actually happened. I saw it and so did others. And that guy will come up and like, it was me. So that guy will be there. And then Ed Cox reads, hearing none. Of course you said hearing none, because that was what was written on your piece of paper. I heard one, so did others. That's the cowardice that is in the leadership of the New York GOP. That's what actually happened. I said it publicly. Come after me. I said it publicly. And I'll say it again every goddamn time, because that was an embarrassment. So yes, the New York GOP individual people are trying desperately to fix this state. There's a lot of people who are strong throughout the party locally trying to fix this state. The top leadership who put this Blakeman thing through, terrible. Bunch of cowards. So, yes, you are correct. Any case, all righty. Gracie says, and New Yorkers still won't vote for Republicans, so the 27 Republicans left in New York, please vote for Larry. It will eventually save the GOP in New York. You are correct, Gracie. Thank you. Looking over on Rumble, Mike has bad knees says, thank you for the $5, my friend. The annoying part of the gerrymandering fight is that Republicans have more room to expand than Democrats do. They just don't have the heart to actually win. He has hit it perfectly. They don't have the heart to actually win. They have surrendered. They've been broken so badly they can't get back up. Okay, if you are a Republican in New York State now, and you happen to be watching, I get it. I have been smashed by Democrats and Republicans. I was attacked by Republicans horribly in 2018, and I still persisted and got ballot access. I was then crushed by Democrats who changed the rules and got rid of my party. I then tried again, and I was crushed again this time by Republicans again. So they go back and forth crushing me. They don't care. They'll both crush me whenever they possibly can. Put me down again and wreck me. And I went from $100,000 in debt, next time $40,000 in debt. And I got hammered. I'm getting hammered again now. They're still trying to come up with rules and regulations to stop me. The courts made up rules. And some of you were there. Again, I'll say this publicly again. If I'm lying, you can sue me. The courts made up rules so that I couldn't speak in court. Just made them up. I'm not joking. People were there when they made them up. They were like, Larry Sharpe can't talk because the press was there. And if I talk and the press is there, they're going to look bad. And they can't have Larry Sharpe make them look bad. So they literally made up rules. Oh, you can't talk because this rule. I'm like, how would I know that? Oh, because we made it up. Yeah, just made rules up. So, yeah, not a law, a rule they just made up. So you can't talk. Yeah, they would just say I can't talk for no reason. My name, to be clear, my name is literally on the lawsuit. My name on the lawsuit. I can't talk. The guy whose name's on the lawsuit can't say anything in court. That's my day in court. I can't say anything. So, yeah. So I understand how you get hammered. Here's what I'm telling you. We have to get back up. We have to get back up. I tell this story. I told a story a while ago, and I'm going to tell it again now. When Americans hit the beaches in D-Day, in many of the beaches, it was a disaster. And men were scared. We've seen stories. You've seen movies about it. A lot of problems. To a point where a general actually decided, I have to go on the beach. If I don't go to the beach myself, we're never going to get to this beach. So the general himself went out there. And there's a part from a story that is shown in the movie The Longest Day. If you've ever seen that movie, it's from the 60s, 62, I think, The Longest Day. And the general is there, and he's watching men cower. They're just cowering. And he sees one private who doesn't have his rifle. And he looks at the private, he goes, hey, private, the general, where's your rifle? He points at it in the sand. He goes, it's over there. He says, aren't you going to need it today? I'm not joking. This is based on a true story. It's obviously dramatized in the movie, but it's based on a true story. And the guy's like, well, yeah. He's like, well, go get it. So the guy rushes out and gets the rifle. And I tell this story because when we get hammered, when we get blasted by our enemies, at one point, you got to pick up your rifle. You just have to. At one point, you have to pick up your rifle. So if you're a Republican in this state, I am asking you, pick up your rifle. I need you. I'm hitting the beach. I'm already on the beach. I got machine guns coming at me now. Pick up your rifle. The same saying on that day was, there are two types of people on this beach. Those who are going to get off this beach and those who are going to be dead. That's it. Well, I'm going to get off this beach. I will break a hole. You guys got to follow me through. Pick up your rifle. Mike goes on to say, Republican Party leadership nationwide are cowards. I'm not sure that's true. I think there are Republican parties across the state who are actually doing something. There are some. I don't think that's necessarily true. I would say for sure in New York State that's true, but I'm not sure it's true across the country. I'm not sure that's true. You do see Republicans across the country doing stuff. You see them. A perfect example of this is a huge example of this is Thomas Massey. I mean, he's a huge example, but there are others. He's the most popular now, but there are others. So, yeah. All right. Let me keep going down here if I can. Andrew says, you can't touch the benefits of those whom you bribe. True. Peace, order, and good governance, Soviets, Kazakhstan. Very nice. I like that. I like that one. Yes. All righty. Move down that piece. Okay. Gracie says, if you want affordable housing, end HUD, Section 8, rent controls, war on drugs, property taxes. Yes, 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 and yes. Everything you just said is true. Everything you just said is true. Yes. John says, as someone in recovery who has seen gaps in crisis response treatment access, I'm asking, do you support Daniel's Law and the Treatment Act? If elected, how do you implement them? And would counties have flexibility in using funding based on local needs? No. Let me explain why. The actual answer is to destroy and obliterate OASIS. That's the answer, John. More programs are not going to work. More money's not going to work. No. The answer is ending OASIS and supporting local communities to get people back in action. And we are terrible at that. In fact, we hamper it. The processes and the systems that work best are always locally based issues, locally best pieces who do not have federal funds. Let's have the funds come locally. As I've told you, many of my rules and regulations allow for local people to support local people the right way. Supporting someone who has an addiction problem in New York City, in Brooklyn, is way different than Allegheny County. They're two separate ways, two separate everything. Anything coming from Albany is going to fail. Local people have to help each other in this regard. And that's not easy. What I'm saying is not because, John, if you've been through it, I know, not for me directly, but my mom was an addict, and I watched her go through this. I've dealt with many veterans who are addicts. This is not easy, and often they fail. And I don't know if it's I say this all the time, is it the third I love you or the 300th I love you that gets someone to get themselves into treatment? I don't know when it is, but we have to find local ways of making this work. Coming out of Albany is going to fail every time. Oasis, for those who don't know, Oasis is the organization that supposedly helps people who are addicts. They fail constantly. It is not the right answer. I hope I answered that question. So, all right. Let's see here. Tara Wombat says, Larry, will you promise to close the state's unicorn gap? Yes. Because it's magic. So, yes. 100%. Gracie says, nuclear power and keto is close to your magic beans unicorn. True. Almost. We're working on it. We are working on it. Yes. All right. We have that one. Okay, D says, well, all I know is every day more libertarians come out of the woodwork wishing they didn't vote for Trump in 2024. I'm so glad I didn't drink that Kool-Aid. I remember what made me walk away. Yeah, the reality of it is, look, most Republicans to this day still support Trump. Most do. He does lose some of them. It's true. What Trump has lost is all those other people in his coalition. He has, and I mentioned this last year, one of the hardest things he'd have to deal with is keeping his coalition together. It will be very challenging to do. I said that, and it's true. You got to spend time keeping that coalition together. He has not done that. And sadly for him, he's the only guy who can. Now, can he still fix it? Yes, he could. But what I'm seeing now, I don't see him doing that. I don't see him moving together to get that coalition together. I've said it before. You've heard me say it. If I was advising Trump, clearly I'm not. If I was advising Trump, I'd be telling him, go back home and fix your house. Your house is out of order. You are worried about someone else's front lawn right now. Your house is out of order. Fix your coalition. Get them back. You see what's happening with him and Maha right now. Another one. He's making stuff worse. He's losing his coalition. And again, does that mean he's going to lose Republicans? No, but you're not going to be able to get the mandate that he had without it. He might have won the election without the coalition. I don't know, but he would have never gotten a mandate without it. He would have never won all 7 swing states. He would have never beaten Harris in the popular vote. That would have never happened without the coalition. And he's losing it. I've been saying it for months. I've been watching it fall apart. He is not fixing it. He has to fix it or he's in trouble. So yes, I see it too, D. I see it too. Gibson says, will you tell us your running mate yet or are you still deciding? I will tell you guys this week. I will tell you this week. That's what I'm telling you. I'll tell you this week. Thank you for that, Gibson. I appreciate you asking, but I'll tell you this week. Here's what I guarantee you. It will not be somebody from the city. How about that? From New York City. Yes, it won't be that. All righty. Let's see here. Phil says, we should do a fundraising event where Larry eats peppers. Sherry says, I'm about 5 minutes behind, but I worked in nursing homes enough to see family members help everyone in the building to cast their vote. Oh, is that right? Well, there we go. There we go. So Sam says, Tish James wants us to turn in business, wants to turn in business that are price gouging. Can I turn to various governments that jacked up our assessments about that? Ooh, I like that. Yes, I like that. So let's punish businesses more. Let's punish them more. I love that. You know what we need to do more in New York State? Punish people. Yes. All righty. Let's see if I can walk down here. Matchman House says, I thought Butchwear was a lesbian clothing store. Boo. It is not. Butchwear is actually a Californian hardcore leftist. It's like I think Butchwear is a professor. I think college professor. I think. Again, if you listen to him speak, Matchman Hour, he's a talented speaker, right? Not as the most talented speaker I've heard in a long time not him, he's good, was Cornel West. Cornel West, when that guy speaks, and again, hardcore leftist, but as he's speaking, you're thinking, maybe the gulags are a good idea. Damn, maybe they are. I was wrong. Maybe libertarian is a bad idea. Man, maybe Bronner, maybe we got to stop building the camps. I think he's right. He's that good of a speaker. And you might go, Larry, you're exaggerating. Okay, a little bit. I am. However, I had him come to the California Libertarian Party convention 2 years ago. He got a standing ovation from libertarians at a convention. That's a good speaker. That's a good speaker. When you come to a libertarian convention and you're basically a Marxist, I mean, I'm exaggerating. You're a far leftist, what I would say. When you're a far leftist and you go to a libertarian convention and you speak and you get a standing ovation, you're good at what you do. That is what I would say. You were good at what you do. So yes. All righty. Shelley says, Mark Molinaro is running. Yes, he's running for assembly. Mark is back. It's true. Little Frog says, the coronation was as bad as Kamala being crowned. It was. Bruce Blakeman is the Kamala Harris of the New York GOP. That is true. Yes. So Bronner says, when you're in your first term as governor, Larry, I personally want to see you do another episode with Larkin. Even better, love to see you chat with James Corbett. I'm happy to do both of them. I don't mind at all. If in case you haven't noticed, I'm not upset about any of these things. I think guys like Larkin, they're not trying to run for office, right? That's not his goal. He's much more of an activist, much more of an influencer, which is fine. I'm not mad at that. We need them, right? As you hear me say often, the liberty movement is a much bigger piece in the Libertarian Party. Libertarian Party is a small piece of the liberty movement. I focus on that piece of it because I think there's value in that. But it doesn't mean there's less value in the other aspects of it. It's just different. And I often say it like it's like military, right? I need my planes, I need my ships, I need my tanks, I need my infantry. They're all important, right? I can't do everything. I can't function well without all of those aspects. I need supply, I need administration, I need it all. So I think we need all of them. We need guys like Larkin and we need guys like me. I think if we're going to have the movement go forward, we just got to be in what I would say in our best lane. I think this is my best lane. If you think I'm wrong, I'm open to seeing it, but I feel like this is my best lane. So I'm staying in my best lane. I think Larkin's good in his lane too. I do. So yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Bronner says, we got an F-bomb. Sometimes it does happen. Yes, absolutely. Shelley, yes, Shelley was there. Thank you, Shelley, when they made up the rules. Thank you. Shelley was there when they made the rules up. So I'm not making it up. They literally just made rules up. Shelley was in the room when they made them up. Absolutely true. That actually happened. So yes. Tara Wombat says, the noble Republicans get in the way of anyone who takes their spot. Yes, it is bad. I mean, it was terrible. Watching it, I was surprised how bad it was. But they didn't care. They didn't care at all. They were just watching. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. Lunatic's back. He says, just did an hour on Truth Between the Lines channel. They want Larry, and I'm happy to come on. Yes, absolutely. Yes. He goes on, they're beyond rifles, they're in bayonet status. Well, if you remember, there was a saying, was it Stonewall Jackson? It might have been. One of the Confederate generals, he would always say, there's only one way to beat the North. And he would say, we must give them the bayonet. That is what he would say. And what he meant by that is you have to be prepared to charge and to fight close up to push the Yanks out of the South. So he would say, often, what are we going to do here? What are we going to do here? Whatever. And he would say, we must give them the bayonet. So there are lots of people who would agree with you, Lunatic. A lot who would. So for those of you who know, the Marine Corps, the mission of the Marine Corps Rifle Squad is to seek out and destroy the enemy by fire and maneuver, or to repel the enemy's attacks by fire and close combat. Now, what does that mean? That means I have to go find the enemy and destroy them. I don't have to kill them because I can defeat them through maneuver. But I have to destroy them, which means they have to either surrender or get destroyed, either one. So it's not required to kill them, but we do what we gotta do. So fire and maneuver is how we get them. And if we are attacked, we have to repel them by fire and close combat. Now, what does that mean? No retreat. So if they get in close, we fight close combat, which means we give them the bayonet. So I agree with you. So you can give them the bayonet on offense or on defense, either one. In the case of the Confederate generals, it was an offense. In the case of Marines, it was defense. But both are fine. Both are fine. So, all right. Let's see if I can do this real fast. Shreya says, exactly, Larry, I still support Maha. A lot of people do. A lot of people do. Yes. D says, I'll tell you, Larry, I'm not too happy about RFK not wanting to go after a roundup. Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, there are some people who are unhappy there. If you were in that world, you know. Yes, 100%. Bruno says, there was a time when the family would tie down the junkie, feed them, bathe them, and talk them through the physical addiction, then address the issues causing addiction, family, community. Yes, one of the hardest things is, and for those of you who have been addicts, you know this, one of the hardest things is going through withdrawal. Right? It's terrible. There are other things that are too, like changing habits, things you become accustomed to, also very challenging. But yeah, look, when my mom, when she finally hit her low point, for her, it was prison. That was hers. Some people, their low point is death, and that's horrible, but it's sometimes true. My mom's is prison. Some people's losing their house or losing something, depends upon who the person is and what is their low point. My mom's is prison. And when I pulled her out, the reason why she never went back, my mom was clean for decades before she passed away. She's totally clean. What made her clean? It wasn't magic. It wasn't the government program. And this may sound weird, but it was me. I was her support system. I'm an only child. My father had died when I was a kid. My father died when I was like 10, 11. I was a kid when he died. So just me and her, nobody else. So it was me. I was there for her. I was her support structure. And what people need more than anything is support structure. I say this all the time. When someone's in trouble, whatever trouble they're in, financial trouble, physical trouble, medical trouble, addiction trouble, mental trouble, whatever it is, the first thing they need is not a program. They might need a program, but it's not the first thing. The first thing they need over anything else is someone who cares. That's the first thing. If you get someone who cares, now that person can say, okay, what's our next step? How do we fix this? What's the answer for you? But the first step is someone who cares. Well, Larry, I have to go to the government. Government cannot care. It's not a thing. It can't. Government cannot care. Government's role is to follow rules, not to have good outcomes. Community, family can care. So if they care, now we go to the right spot. That's the number one thing, someone who cares. So yes, Bronner, I don't know if that's the right answer, but maybe it was for that person. Maybe it was. But what I know is someone who cares matters. Kate says, I'm longing to see Larry in debates where he just spikes the volleyball so fast into the stunned faces of other debaters. They have no answers. He's on fire. I love that. Thank you so much. The advantage I have, though, really is I've been doing this for 8 years. I've been street fighting for 8 years. I've been doing live stuff for 8 years. They haven't. They haven't. So, yes. So, absolutely true. All right. Sarah says, I don't want Cornel West as president, but I love him. Met him once. I met him more than, and oh my God, for those of you who don't know, if you can, to Sarah's point, you're totally correct. If you cannot deal with his politics, he's amazing. If you can just take his politics, I know it's hard for people. Lunatic is like, I hate that guy. I get it. His politics, not good. But if you could just take it away, Sarah's correct. He's a great guy. He remembers my name every time he sees me. He goes, it's Brother Larry. He's out there meeting all the people. He calls me Brother Larry, all that stuff. Yes, he's great. His charisma, up to the roof, his charisma. You're correct, Sarah. He's great. Yes. Bruna says, that was my entire point, Larry. I would love for you, Larkin, or James to discuss your successes within your plan of attack. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Agreed. Yes. So yeah, I know. Lunatic's like, I don't care. Hate it. I know. I get it, Lunatic. But Sarah has a valid point. The guy's got charisma. He's very good at what he does. He's got charisma. So yeah, got it. All righty. Let's see here. Got that one already. So that's good. Okay. We are rocking and rolling. I appreciate that. Yes. All right. So here's what I want you guys to do. If you don't mind, please do me a favor. If you have not already, please click the like button. I've asked many times. I keep asking. I am trying my best to move this thing forward. So please do that. If you would, please do so. Click that like button. If you haven't reposted this yet, please do so. Repost it. And please subscribe or like this channel wherever you're watching it. So looking over at Rumble, Juan says, thank you for $5. On Sunday, I spoke in front of a conservative group and invited them to meet you in Warwick, March 1st. Yes, I will be in Warwick March 1st. Afterward, an attendee remembered you from a 2022 meeting and said, you were right about Lee Zeldin. For those you don't remember, you guys know I do a lot of predicting. And I predicted literally what would happen with Lee Zeldin and how it would happen. And I said this months before. And this is what Juan's talking about. Juan is correct. I said that he would lose between 5 and 7 points. He lost by 6. I'm not joking. This is in video. Again, so if you think I'm making this up, if you care, find the video. I literally said this publicly on video. I said he'll lose between 5 and 7 points. He lost by 6. And I said within 3 to 4 months, he will have created a PAC with all the money left over, and he'll be ahead of that PAC and he'll be paying himself a salary. Literally happened. Everything I said would happen did happen. Because I know this state. I know how this works. I've had my ass kicked more than once in it. So I do know absolutely how that works. So yes, if you have not donated yet, please donate if you can. LarrySharpe.com/donate. If you have already donated, you want to volunteer, please do so. LarrySharpe.com/volunteer. We will be coming up with all the plans and ideas for us to go get signatures, right? It's already in the process. The snowstorm screwed us up. A couple of my people on my team literally lost power, can't get out of the house, some of that stuff, a heavy issue. So we will get around that. So we might be a day or two late. It's because of snowstorms. It's how it works. But we will be able to let you know, here's how, why, what, all those things. And I'll be announcing my Lieutenant Governor in the next couple of days. So you'll have that too this week. All of that will be up and running within a couple of days. Just give me a couple times. A little bit of time. I'll make that happen. Hope that's clear. Lunatic says, Cornell has no solutions to anything. He has word salad to the untrained mind. Yeah, but it's really, really beautiful prose. I mean, the guy like quotes ancient Greeks. He's good at what he does. I'm just saying, you're not incorrect. But this is the part I go back often. I used to mess with Mike Voss on this, so I'm messing with you on this one today, Lunatic. Rhetoric isn't the answer, but rhetoric matters, right? It does matter. It isn't the answer, but it matters. And boy, that guy has good rhetoric. That guy has good rhetoric. That's all I'm saying, right? That guy has a lot of good rhetoric. So yeah, that piece is important. I just want to make sure that was clear. So here, Sarah says, love is what justice looks like in public. Oh. How you going to beat that, Lunatic? You can't beat that. Stop. That's good stuff right there. That's good stuff right there. That's good stuff. So that's all I'm saying. That's good stuff right there. He's not wrong. So he's not wrong. That's very good stuff. I love how that sounds. You're right. It doesn't mean anything really. I mean, it doesn't, but man, it really does. It does sound good. And rhetoric does matter. That's all I'm saying, Lunatic. Don't get mad at me. I'm telling you the truth. It does matter. So, all right. I think I covered all those pieces. Guys, remember, after this live, please do me a favor and come back on and tell me, what do you think is the number one issue that should be solved by Democrats? Democrats are going to solve the issues. What's the number one issue they should solve? Please do that. Remember, if you're watching this and it's later afterwards, the video pops up, please watch one of them right away. Helps it with the rhythm. Mr. Al Go Rhythm. I will see you all very soon.